Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most legendary rivalries in tech history. A showdown that didn't just define a generation, it literally shaped the entire video game industry as we know it.
And really, it all boils down to this one simple question. Because back in the early 90s, two absolute titans emerged, and they had completely different ideas about what made a video game great. This sparked an all-out war for our living rooms.
So let's set the stage. You had Nintendo, the undisputed king of the 8-bit world, just sitting on top of the mountain. But then came Sega, this ambitious upstart from the arcades, and they were ready for a fight. Their clash kicked off the 16-bit console war, a time of just incredible innovation and competition. Okay, so to really get this rivalry, you've got to look under the hood. Let's do a head-to-head on the actual hardware that powered these two legends.
First up, the brains of the operation, the CPU. Now, on paper, this looks like a knockout. The Mega Drive's processor was more than twice as fast, and trust me, Sega never lets you forget it. But it wasn't the whole story. The SNES chip, while slower, was actually more efficient. It could do certain things in fewer steps. So you had this classic tortoise versus the hare situation, baked right into their very core. And that whole different philosophy, you could literally see it on the screen. The Super Nintendo had this ridiculously huge color palette. We're talking 256 colors on screen at once from a choice of over 32,000. It made games look like these lush, vibrant paintings. The Mega Drive, though, with its faster processor, could throw more moving things, more sprites on screen at once. Perfect for chaotic, fast-paced action. And then there was the sound. Oh man, they were worlds apart. The SNES aimed for these rich, almost movie-like soundtracks using high-quality sampled audio. Meanwhile, the Mega Drive's FM synthesis chip gave its games that punchy, electronic, and totally unmistakable arcade vibe. You could tell which console a game was on just by listening to it. So when you lay it all out like this, you can really see the two different game plans, right? Nintendo was all in on graphical beauty and rich sound. Sega bet the farm on raw speed and nonstop action. Neither one was better, they were just built for totally different kinds of fun, and that choice defined their entire legacies. All right, so all this tech talk is great, but how did it actually feel? Let's talk about how these specs led to two completely different gaming philosophies and what that meant for the games we played. The SNES really was the artist's canvas. Those colors created these deep, stunning worlds. But it had a secret weapon, a little trick called Mode 7. This thing could take a background and then scale it, rotate it, and create these mind-blowing pseudo-3D effects. You see it in Super Mario Kart, in F-Zero. No one had ever seen anything like that from a home console before. It was all about immersion. The Mega Drive, on the other hand, was just a pure athlete. That faster CPU meant pure, unadulterated speed. It was built from the ground up to bring that arcade feeling home, making it the undisputed king of action games, shooters, and sports titles. It was just raw, fast, in-your-face adrenaline. Now, a rivalry this fierce, it couldn't just stay behind the scenes in the engineering labs. Oh no, it exploded out into the open, fueling one of the most aggressive, memorable marketing wars the world has ever seen. Sega's secret weapon wasn't just its CPU. It was marketing genius. They invented a term, blast processing. What was it? Honestly, nobody really knew. And you know what? It didn't matter. It sounded fast, it sounded powerful, and it gave Sega's speed a cool name that every kid on the playground was yelling about. And that kind of attitude was captured perfectly in their slogan. Sega does what Nintendo don't. It was bold, it was aggressive, it was brilliant. It instantly positioned Sega as the cooler, edgier, more mature big brother to the family-friendly Nintendo. They were throwing down the gauntlet. So how do you fight back against that? Well, if you're Nintendo, you don't fight fire with fire. You just played your strengths. They leaned into their bulletproof reputation for quality and their incredible roster of characters. The message was simple. Sega might be loud, but we have Mario. We have Zelda. We're not just selling games, we're selling masterpieces. So, after all the technical showdowns, all the marketing battles, who actually won? Well, the really fascinating thing is, It kind of depends on who you ask. To this day, this debate is far from over.
You can go into any retro gaming forum today, and this divide is as real as it was in 1993. It was never just about sales numbers. It was about what you valued as a gamer. Did you want the deep RPGs and the gorgeous worlds of the SNES? Or were you all about the high-speed, arcade-perfect action of the Mega Drive? Your answer pretty much decided which team you were on.
But here's the thing. While Sega and Nintendo were busy fighting their war, the real winner, in the end, was us, the players. This brutal competition fueled a legitimate golden age of creativity. It forced both companies to innovate like crazy, and it gave us better games, more diverse games, and a library of titles that we still celebrate today as some of the greatest of all time.
So ultimately, the legacy here isn't about sales figures or clock speeds. It's about the timeless games and the memories they made for millions of us. The war itself may be over, but the passion it inspired is still here. Which leaves us with just one last question: the artist or the athlete? Which one defined that golden age for you?